I've been thinking about this play for over a year now, so I want to take a look back at the targeting call on Zacoby McClain during the Penn State game, because I know at the time I was pretty furious with how it looked and how it happened and obviously the outcome. So I want to look back on it and see, was the call the right call, or is there something that we missed? So let's take a quick look back at the targeting penalty on Zacoby McClain versus Penn State. If you were watching this in real time, yes, I can see how it looks like targeting. You see the player's head for Penn State. You see his head kind of snap back a little bit. It looks like Zacoby McClain kind of goes in. He does go in low, and it looks like he does lead with his head or shoulder somewhat. But the question is, was it truly targeting as far as the definition of targeting and the stipulations and indicators that are in the rules for targeting for the NCAA? So let's take a look at what those requirements are, what the indicators are, and judge if what we just saw meets those requirements. When we look at the definition of targeting in the NCAA rulebook in 2019, it says that targeting means that a player takes aim at an opponent for purposes of attacking with forcible contact that goes beyond making a legal tackle or a legal block or playing the ball. One of the stipulations says that a player cannot lead with the crown of their helmet. In the video we watched, Zacoby McClain does not lead with the crown of his helmet, so that part is not applicable in this situation. If we continue, he gives multiple indicators of targeting. It says that one of these things must be present for it to be targeting. Launch. So a player leaves their feet when attacking the opponent in an upward and forward thrust of the body. That did not happen from Zacoby McClain. A crouch followed by an upward and forward thrust. Nope. Leading with helmet, shoulder, forearm, fist, hand, or elbow to attack with forcible contact at the head or neck area. This one is the one where it's a little questionable. Did he in fact lead with his helmet? No. Did he lead with his shoulder? Possibly, but we'll come back to that one. And then the last part, lowering the head before attacking by initiating forcible contact. He did not do that. That was the one I mentioned at the very beginning. He did not lead with the crown of his helmet. So out of all those, the only one that's really possible is leading with his shoulder and his shoulder making forcible contact with the neck or head of the Penn State player. Note 2 is all about a defenseless player. So the question is, was the Penn State player who was going for a touchdown and went down almost all the way to the ground but was still live, he was still not down, was he a defenseless player? So let's look at the stipulations or indicators for a defenseless player. Was he a player in the act of or just after throwing a pass? No. A receiver attempting to catch a forward pass or in a position to receive a backwards pass? No. A kicker in the act? Well, obviously not a kicker, so no. A kick returner? No. A player on the ground? Close to the ground, but not on the ground. Otherwise, the Penn State player would have been down. So that one does not count. A player obviously out of the play? No, the play was still live. A player who receives a blindside block? No, none of this still applies. According to all of this, still not a defenseless player. A ball carrier already in the grasp of an opponent and whose forward progress has been stopped. If forward progress had been stopped, there would have been no need to tackle this player. They were still going forward towards the end zone. A quarterback anytime after a change of possession, once again, no. So this is not, by the definition of targeting for the NCAA, I'm not seeing anything that would qualify the Penn State player as a defenseless player. So then we go back to what exactly does make this a potential targeting call. And that would be where we saw leading with the shoulder or helmet. We don't believe it's helmet, but shoulder is a possibility. But that is the only possible indicator I saw that would make me think this could be considered a targeting call. So if we are to believe that the only reason this was a targeting call is because Zacoby McClain led with his shoulder when tackling, my question is this. What was he supposed to do? What was the other option in this situation? The guy was close to the ground. He was like a foot and a half off the ground going towards the end zone. He had his arm down so that he could keep his body up, but he was hurtling towards the end zone. And the only thing that could stop him from getting in the end zone was what Zacoby McClain did. He got as low as he could to make it where he was equal with the player that was close to the ground, and he stopped the play. He prevented the player from getting into the end zone. He did what he was supposed to do, and ultimately he made a football play. This, in my opinion, should not have been targeting for that reason. Because in all honesty, what else could he have done? What else was he supposed to do to prevent the Penn State player from getting into the end zone? Because just letting him enter the end zone because he was low to the ground is not acceptable. McClain made the right call. He made a good play. Yes, there was some contact with his shoulder and the head or neck area of the other player, but it shouldn't matter because this was the only option and this was the only way to prevent him from getting into the end zone.